Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to the Monday workshop. As always, every Monday we get together to start with continue with our journey, our spiritual journey. On this journey, we explore the experiences of different people. And as we explore the experiences of the people, so we get to recognize the newness in spirituality. Spirituality being something not so tangible compared to other physical experiences. It takes little creativity, it takes a little more extra support, it takes a new way to access access that spiritual power, spiritual presence. And so we have with us one of the experienced meditator, Brother Per Marshall. He has been practicing Raj Yoga meditation for over 40 plus years, 4 decades. It's almost like my age. It's a big time. And he's one of the original jewels of San Francisco. He has been practicing Raj Yoga meditation since Baba started his service in San Francisco. He's one of the he was instrumental in bringing a lot of other BKs, including Macy Bai, right, and Mohan Bai, and a lot of others. They all came together. So we hear from Brother Per.
Thank you, Harsha Bai.
Welcome.
I think what we can do is start with a short guided meditation, maybe for just 1 minute.
Sure. Yeah.
Meditation, when I was described, meditation to me was a form of healing. One of my fellow teachers was giving a lesson on it, and he said it comes from the same word to medicate or to medicine. So meditation it's about healing from within the soul. So the soul, we know, has 3 organs, no? The mind, the intellect, and the personality traits or sanskaras. So when we sit in silence, we bring those 3 powers into some harmony, or at least we have enough distance to see which one is needing more attention. So we'll just spend 30 seconds in silence, and then I'll say a few words at the end of that. We know each one of us has a part, a contribution that we have to make without even trying. We automatically, as souls, radiate vibrations into the world. So this process of healing, bringing to wholeness oneself, is about understanding and seeing from the results that come to me what I'm putting out. what vibrations are emanating from me. Being somebody who wants to learn to meditate or gravitates to some spiritual practice, we may find we like what we hear. It resonates. But taking the next step is where we sit and take on board the ideas that are around, positive ideas, interesting ideas, thoughtful ideas, soul, mind, peace, desires, pure desire. Right? Everybody wants to be happy, but we're like the queen who was looking for her necklace and she couldn't see where it was since she had the whole kingdom looking for her necklace. And then at the end of the day, her minister came and said, "Oh, queen, is this the one around your neck that you're looking for? You see this one you're wearing?" And she looked, "Oh, it was right here. I was searching my whole kingdom." So it's a real interesting balance when we take up a spiritual practice and live spiritual life, because anything that's not in our best interest, it becomes more apparent. Many people say, "My life was fine until I started meditating." Because what's happening is they're able to see, oh, this is how, this is what the Lord, we have some distance, and so we're able to see. And we say, "Oh, now this is causing trouble here, that's causing trouble here." So the next step is taking help. We can take help from friends and teachers and books, but ultimately taking the leap and allowing Baba, allowing Shiv Baba, point of light Baba, to be there within our mind's eye at the end of the journey, but also all along the way to check in with the journey of life. You see, sometimes we can go for years and not get anywhere because we're too busy looking at others. We're comparing ourselves to other situations. We're looking at world situation, looking at politics, looking at business, looking at sports, looking at whatever it is that pulls our intellect. So Brahma Baba, Brahma Baba, you've probably heard a lot about him. I think for me, when I first saw his picture, I saw someone who was very natural with who he was. He was not putting on a persona of what it would be to be a spiritual person. He seemed like he knew himself and was very comfortable with who he was. And I saw from the people who were introducing me to Brahma Baba that they were their own selves too. They had something about them in common, which was the spiritual teachings and something magical about them, but they were each very different than each other. And previously, when I had been in some meditation groups and churches, and there was more of a conformity to a certain how you act, how to be. And yes, of course, we as Raj Yogis and Brahma Kumaras and Kumaris, we do have a code of conduct, and we have, lifestyle practice, and we avoid things, and we try to inculcate other things, But each one has to do it in their own way. Everyone has a different way of being happy, or being kind, or being peaceful even. Peace looks different in everyone's face. And each person's face has a different way of showing peace. So Brahma Baba really intrigued me. And then the teachings that Brahma Baba was a mouthpiece for these teachings. He himself was amazed by what was being spoken through him, by the incarnation of Shiv Baba into Brahma Baba. He was amazed. So I never ceased to study these wonderful teachings. I mean, it's always so rich. There's always something in there to reconsider and look from a new perspective, something that I may have taken for granted. Oh, I know that. I know what that means. But then life always asks us to re-examine the things that sometimes we think we know, and learn them in a new way. So I think that's one of the beautiful things about this teaching, that Brahma Baba was an instrument for these teachings, because through Bhagirat, through this fortunate chariot of Brahma Baba, souls who were very old souls started to listen and hear things that they liked, that they didn't find anywhere else. Something unique was coming through. And answers were coming, and fruit of their longing, fruit of the bhakti they had done, the study, the penance, the austerities, the prayers, the hopes, the aspirations. They were getting easy returns now. They would sit for just a minute in Baba's presence, or they would go to the local center and they meet the divine family, and they felt something different, something tangible that they liked. Because why? Because they were also old souls who had been looking for that original family of souls. The Adi Sanatan Devi Devta Dharma, the ancient original religion of gods and goddesses, right? That did exist, it did exist. Brahma Baba was certain, because he had had a vision. When Shiv Baba started knocking on his door and giving him experiences, he was, wow, he was dumbstruck. He was had prepared for a few years, even before Shiv Baba came. He was deeply concerned about experiencing soul and mastery of the soul, and not being a slave to his senses or to situations or to his own mind. He even would write in his diary, "Oh mind, how are you today? Why are you bothering me? Why are you troubling me?" Or the intellect, the minister, you're supposed to make decisions properly. What's happening? So he would talk to his mind and his intellect. But when Shiv Baba started giving Brahma Baba visions, one of the first series of visions was a wake-up call. That this world is temporary, and the things that you think are very permanent, they're going to be washed away. And he was really, shaken by that. Like, wow, what was that? Such that he even said, oh God, show me your other side. Show me your peaceful side, your loving side. This is too much to bear, to see this much destruction on the world, floods and earthquakes and natural calamities. And he was, just traumatized. And the next series of visions was the 180 degrees opposite of those. And they also included him in that, that a divine world of peace and purity is just on the way, just coming, and he was in that world as a divine person. And there was love and peace. And human beings who were in balance with nature. Nature was balanced with humanity. So, the vision of Vishnu saying, as I am, so are you. Vishnu is a symbolic representation, we now know, of divinity incarnate, not an actual person, but a symbolism God uses to make an impression on our minds of what divinity looks like. Of course, nobody has 4 arms, right? But the 4 arms represent a human being with all divine qualities, a balance of male and female, Mahavishnu or Mahalakshmi, either one is a balanced person who has completion. See, human beings today, we're divided in 2, we're always looking for someone else to complete us. But in Golden Age, each one is a master and complete in themselves, So we come into connection with other people, not out of neediness, not out of greed and needing, like levta, taking, but we are devta, we're giving. If you look in the temples, you see the gods and goddesses are always giving. They're not taking. The devotees are taking, give, but they're there. So Vishnu said to him, as I am, so are you, Brahma Baba. Yeah? You were a golden aged Narayan. So this knowledge is just so wonderful. I mean, you can pick today's Moralies is a pack of Moralies, and of course, I don't know so much Hindi, so I read in English, but it's fascinating. It says, here's a beautiful sentence, just jumped right out at me. It says here, God can never take anything from anyone. Perfect. I didn't plan to read it, but it's always the right word. Just what when Shiv Baba came into Brahma Baba spoke to the people and Shiv Baba and tried to awaken them to their divinity. Say, hey, look, you can do this too. Baba is giving. He's not asking. When you think, I'm going to give my life to God, I'm going to do everything for God. Baba says, it's not for me, it's for you. You get the fruit of it. If you divinize yourself even 5%, this is a great achievement. And then maybe 10% next year, it's a great achievement in this Kali Yuga, in the atmosphere of very dense, tamo pradhan, body conscious, dense, dense dukdam energy. It's very duk, very not sukhi, not happy, but duk, sorrowful world. To be able to be like a lotus flower, live in this world, and still maintain some distance, like the flower above the mud. And even if the mud gets on it, it rolls off, no? So these analogies, everything I can speak about of any value is from these Moralies and from these teachings, Even in casual conversation, I was just met someone recently at the food store saying, yes, meditation is so nice in the morning time, and some, they were saying, well, I can't sleep at night. I said, well, that's also good. Then meditate at that time, I go to sleep early just to wake up to meditate, So, oh, okay. I was just talking about Amrit Vela, the Amrit, the nectar hours, the Vela, the time of nectar. And this is something Brahma Baba would stress. Everyone who came to him and stayed at the ashram, he always encouraged them to do the morning meditation. And now when we go to Madhuban, people sit, in our homes, especially during this lockdown time, people are, isolated, but even online now we're gathering just to meditate and hear some commentary. So, Harsha Bhai, you have any questions?
Yeah, thank you, Apir Bhai.
You want me to say anything, any direction? Because I can flow and flow and flow.
Yeah.
But, It's
No,
this thing about
it's,
taking, wanting, I think let me just finish this thought. It's all about from inside, having the faith that I may feel empty, but if I go a little deeper, I realize I have a lot more inside. And sometimes we need obstacles to make us draw on those inner powers, inner strengths that we didn't know we had. And I think Brahma Baba faced the maximum. In the 30s, he was he started an organization, just a family based in the old mothers and simple people and brothers and sisters. And he said, "You are Pandavs. You are the ones who are on God's side, and you're going to purify all of Bharat. Give this message to all of Bharat." The father says, "Be good, do good." You know, and they face so much opposition just for sharing basic virtues, encouraging people to live this way, because old habits die hard. And people here, we like spirituality, but we can't change. You don't want us to give up habits. That's,
mm,
we could pray once a week, but, every day, meditation, every morning, they don't have that power. So Shiv Baba through Brahma Baba demonstrated the power of tapasya, the power of transformation. Parivartan.
yeah, it's so beautiful how the spiritual journey flows, and
Mm.
especially uh, as humans, so we learn from observing and imitating literally.
Mm-hmm.
So as a child, when we start walking, we start looking at others and then exactly repeat what they do. And then that is how, if you actually see, the whole collective wisdom of humanity has been passed on from generation to generation as the skill. And then it is not just through words, it's not just through schools and colleges, but it is by observing one another. And then
Mm-hmm.
observe, you take it inside yourself and then you apply. And without your knowledge, without making much effort, you just flow and then you embody all of those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And especially when it comes to spirituality, and spirituality is such a unique skill. Even though we are surrounded by so many high philosophers and
Mm-hmm.
big pundits and all other stuff, we were not able to come closer to our spirituality. And one of the things which I see is because of um, they are not embodying, or maybe we are not embodying, right? And so I like what you were saying, that when you first uh, went to center or Madhuban, when you saw Brahma Baba, you saw something unique about this person. And this person is very comfortable being himself, right? And he embodied something, and then he was colored by something else.
Right.
And then either
Can
it
I
could
just
be,
say, Harsha, excuse me, just to interrupt. I came into the knowledge and into my first meditation center 10 years after Brahma Baba had left the body. Okay.
mm,
So I went to Madhuban in 79, and he had left the body uh, actually 11 years, because it was December 69, 79, and he left the body um, in January 60.
mm, mm,
Anyway, but you could feel his energy even in Madhuban. It's still, you could
mm,
feel what he was like. But I was just saying, just his picture alone, just the stories I started to hear, and the flow of the morally, you hear so much of Brahma Baba's personal experience too, not just the pure knowledge that Shiv Baba's giving, man above, focus your mind on me, now it's time to go home, this, let go of everything, I'm here, I'm your support. This story of the fellow who's like, he's hanging on a cliff and he says, "Oh God, save me," and God says, "Just let go of the cliff, you'll be fine." He goes, "Is there anyone else up there?" Like, so that, but these kind of confirmations, when you step into an atmosphere of someone who is actually experiencing a bodiless stage,
mm,
even or even for yourself, you have a meditation and you have bodiless stages for a few seconds, or a minute or two, that, and then you get quiet and you start listening to, okay, what are these people saying now? There's something here. It's not just theory, right? It's like people are doing it, and then it makes you go, oh, okay, and I'm still thinking about ice cream, whatever, and then these people are having bodiless experience. So what kind of sweetness is that, and how do I get more of that? So it's serious and also very happiness. And when you're getting something you want, some attainments are coming. It's a unique thing. And we're old souls, all of us, and so we've done many things and we've become good at it, including seeking. So we're used to seeking. Like, it can't just come from, when we first meet the knowledge and we meet Shiv Baba through Brahma Baba, sometimes souls get magical experiences, They look at Baba's picture and they have a vision of light, or they look at sisters giving drishti in the center and they get a powerful light or something, or deep peace, or, and then that kind of thing sparks us. But for a sustained journey, for a long term, we need to also take the knowledge and just study it every day. Study, just read it and mull it over, because that's what's called churning your own ingredients to get your own intoxication. There's a saying in Hindi, the one who grinds his own ingredients fresh, then they get intoxicated. So, and that's true in the spiritual path. We can be around others, and for a while it's always lovely, but eventually you need to spend time in silence as well. Some people come to meditate and they go, I don't like group meditation. I like to meditate alone. I can't like to. And other people say, I never meditate alone, but I love meditating in a group. Where's the group meditation? And I always say, you need both. If you just do one and not the other, you're not growing. You're avoiding something. You're not. So it's good to be around other people and encouraged and take in the atmosphere and have time. You need to go off in your own mountaintop, even for a half an hour every day. You need to spend time in silence and then step into. And Brahma Baba would always say, you like it here, don't you? But then after 2 weeks in the mountaintop with the family and the Brahma family, and then people go back to their homes and families, said, keep remembering Shiv Baba. Are you remembering Shiv Baba? And then they would write a letter, Baba, Maya is very powerful here. I lost my peace of mind. He said, Baba's remembering you, come back soon, go soon and come soon, come like clouds go to the ocean, they get filled up with water and they go off in rain. So Baba would say, you have to be in your home and family. That's where you get to see how strong you are. One thing is to renounce the world and live. It's good once in a while to go off for a retreat, but to live on a mountaintop, it's not useful. You can't really do service just living in a monastery or off in some people love to hike, and there's nothing wrong with that, going off in nature. But you also have to be in your day job, in a stressful office situation, and be able to handle negativity, other people's issues. That's when you grow, you move up spiritually. And you can take on responsibilities for helping others too, because everybody's going through stuff. And someday you will go, we're all in process, whether we're students or teachers, brothers, sisters, 40 years in knowledge, 40 days in this knowledge. Everyone's, they have habits, habitual ways of thinking called sanskaras, right? And those sanskaras are molded only with regular, like a stone is washed away with water drops, like the shivling, the old shivlings, they get worn away. There are people, devotees for hundreds of years pouring water on that shivling, right? It gets smooth. So this intellect is stone. But Baba says this knowledge is like nectar, and if you take drop by drop every day, it smooths you off and gives us something of value, This reminds me of a toli Brahma Baba used to give the children. It was a date, and he would give them a date, each one. But inside the date, they took the pit, the stone out, and they put an almond inside. He said, Baba likes this very much. Why? Because this is what we as souls do. Ideally, we want to take out the rubbish inside and put in something of value. An almond is very nutritious, very fortifying. So Baba said, this is good. This is a good totally, because he could teach some knowledge at the same time.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very interesting how Baba used to give gyan. And so coming back to the spiritual journey, so
Mm.
as we go through this spiritual journey, like you nicely touched upon, part of it is like our sanskaras, right? Our sanskaras, which are actually backed by our own emotional traumas.
Mhm.
So it is the soul who has, it may not be in this birth, it may be in our previous births that we might have experienced something strong, right? So these sanskaras might have been created as a defense mechanism, as a survival instinct. Like for example, anger. Anger is a survival instinct. So fear triggers the anger and then we defend ourselves. And there may be some deep traumas that the soul has experienced in the past, right? And created this strong sanskara, right? So now as we go through this spiritual journey, so we have to let go of the very defense system that has been built over generations together, over 63 generations, right? So now comes the hard part, or maybe a pleasant part in a way, that as we go through the spiritual journey, we have to melt off our own defense shields, which itself is doing damage to our own self, right? So one of the things that always comes to my mind is you um, enjoy the spiritual path, I need to have more pleasant experiences. And definitely, pleasant experience is not just having a chocolate cake or somebody nice saying something nice about you, or somebody treating you better. But it is more than that, right? Like the experiences, like spiritual experiences, right? So one of the things that you are bringing up is bodiless state, right? So you are, it may happen anytime or any place where in a beautiful atmosphere, you are there in amongst the trees, and all of a sudden you feel very much in tune with the nature. You go beyond your own fears, and you feel something different altogether, right? So, so I was wondering if you can share some of your personal experiences where you had those moments when maybe when you first landed in Bharat, you might have felt something different, or this is a different place than other people are different, or you feel different, or maybe when you walked into a courtyard when we
Okay,
saw
I
all the
got you.
things,
Okay,
right?
I understand what you want. Okay, well, this thing about bodilessness, two things come to mind, and then I'll talk more about India. But you see, what we are most attached to is something that's not us. It's my, I and my. These are two things. But the my is the body, right? My body, including thoughts, my programming, right? So I am the one who owns. Yeah? One of the first things a little kid will say is my. A little baby starts to say my, my, right? So great, my. But this is a very, very deep sanskara. So uh, it's only grace that gives you. It's up to Baba to pull the string of the soul, to give you that bodiless experience. I mean, you can get it kind of through others. And if someone is so humble and so incorporeal themselves that you realize this person has no ego, and it's scary. Wow, what a concept! Like we never met anyone without any fear, without any suspicion, without any hang-ups, right? It's like wow. Of course, that can give us a moment where if we have had that experience, it will bring it out in us. If it's latent in us below the more recent negative experiences, we go back to our real old sanskaras, not the more recent sanskaras, just the past couple of 100 years or even a few thousand years. But if we go back to our ancient original, it leads us back to this Adi, Sanatan, Devi, Devta. Those ancient original experiences are divine. And then, of course, when the soul first came to this planet, it was bodiless, you know. It was bodiless, and it came gradually to be into this corporeal world. We developed a relationship to a body, and we took birth. We relationship to brothers and sisters and families, you know. And we started saying my, you know. But even then, in Satyug, it was not based on bondage, but it was harmonious. So this bodiless experience is something you can't force. Not like hatha yogis will fast, pray, meditate for days, right? And then they may get a little experience, a lot of work, you know. But if we talk too much about this to new students, they're like, sorry, we talk about bodiless, it sounds too abstract. So happiness, peace, love, purity, these things stem from divinity, but the soul itself in the seed stage, we talk about different types of yoga, right? Where you're having subtle experience, you feel in the subtle form, you feel maybe you're seeing Brahma Baba or angels, or you feel that's nice. But the seed stage yoga is a powerful state of yoga that burns sin. Like Baba would say often, if you have just a minute of seed stage yoga where you, then even a whole lifetime's worth of karma is finished. So, you know, we've had 84 lifetimes, right? Eight births in the golden age. That's 8 dynasties. Lakshmi Narayan the first, Lakshmi Narayan the second, Lakshmi Narayan the third. 8 dynasties. And we were in those. We were friends and relatives, and we did things, and we danced, and we had a kingdom of millions of people. India was a big, thriving, beautiful heaven. It wasn't called India that we know today. It was paradise. It was Bahesht. It was the garden of Allah. They used to talk about it. It was you know, in mythology, you know, the Garden of Eden, all that. But they're talking about time of purity, peace, happiness inside us. So these things are strengthened now, ultimately in this last birth of ours, only by having some good quality yoga, which I think everyone could use a lot more of. You know, we like talking about knowledge. We like it, and it's good, but it makes us ultimately, even Brahma would say, Shiva Baba speaks the Morley through me, but I get to hear first because my ear's right here, you know. So when Shiva Baba would incarnate and say to speak to everybody, so much knowledge, right? Brahma Baba's sitting right next to him, listening, just like Krishna and Arjuna, right? They say in mythology, Krishna and Arjuna were very good friends, and Arjuna kept asking Krishna questions, and Krishna kept, okay, it's like this, do it like this. You know, there's a battlefield going on, and you have relatives on both sides. Don't worry, they're all souls. They have their own part. You know, no one's to blame. You know, that's deep knowledge. And this is what we're hearing every day. Shiva Baba says, what else did he say this morning? He says, even if you were to make the whole ocean into ink and the whole jungle into paper, there would be no end to this knowledge. Wow. I mean, that's a beautiful point, especially in context, right? In context today's sharing. And then he goes on to say, if you have been writing this down from the beginning, you would have many books by now. So he was talking to his regular students who, you know, some of them would write notes, you know, but he said, if you've been kept writing, imagine how much, you know, every day Brahma Baba, Shiva Baba would speak through Brahma Baba for an hour every day. And he touched on religion, philosophy, karma, metaphysics, history, geography, everything, politics, architecture, everything, mythology, you know, folklore. He talks about Christian things. He talks about Buddhist things. Some more or less, he talks about things that Christians are going, when they hear, they go, "Wow, really? There's the Jesus soul and the Christ soul are two different." Yeah. Wow. Brahma Baba spoke openly. He said, "Yeah, Jesus was Christ soul was pure, and he came into the body of Jesus, who was a nice guy, a good guy. But the Christ soul came to start Christianity. And so he came into an already grown body. He didn't need to take birth in the sand. That's what virgin birth means, pure birth means. It means a pure soul coming into a body that's already grown up. Because he didn't have to be born, didn't have to get all messy and had to be spanked and baby and fed. No, he was such a pure soul. Prophet souls do that. Not only Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, Mahavir, all these great souls who started religion after heaven was gone. Satyuga was finished, Treta Yuga was finished. So Bharat had fallen. That's when the prophets started coming. Mostly all of them started coming. Very beginning, 2,500 years ago, Abraham. These are pure souls. They don't come into a womb. They come into a grown human being and transfigure that person, and work with that soul. So there are two souls working, and they could come and go as they please. So anyway, all this is from moral. I'm just extrapolating. But Baba's saying, by receiving the Father's introduction and knowing the Creator, you also have come to know the knowledge of creation. What does that mean? It means the old world has to be destroyed before the new world can come. But it won't be, the bombs won't drop, the floods, the earthquakes, all the souls. People think it's a bad thing, but actually it's not, because souls get liberated. They may not know it, but they're tired. Most people are very tired. They're angry, they're greedy, they're bitter, they're resentful, they're sad, they're hopeless, because they're tired. They want to go home. So making God interesting again, not God is going to get, no, God says, it's okay, don't worry about this. Now I've come to take you home, children. So for us, if we have more body on the stage, I think people will trust us more, because they don't feel peacelessness. When we have peace, people can relax around us. Yeah. That's
Beautiful.
Yeah, that's very important.
Yeah, it was really beautiful point where you brought up that the present state of the world, where people are very resentful, hopeless, no matter what they have or don't have. Everyone is tired. Soul is tired, mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted. There is no sweetness in the relationships, and people are saying that thank you, I am done. But in a way they don't see what else. So like I like today's blessing, especially on that line where I was talking about now is the time you have to step into that stage, definitely bodiless stage, that into that body of light. People can feel your presence, like the clouds in the sky floating everywhere. People should feel your angelic presence when you are in the corporeal world. Even you're wearing this white clothes, and they're not looking at the white clothes, they're looking at that aura around you, right? It's such a elevated task Baba has given us, right? As the ones who understand, who definitely have good experiences, spiritual experiences. And now Baba says now it is your responsibility to take care of the whole family, and this is the task I want you to do. So now definitely, so the knowledge is very deep, and especially Murli's, like you can pick one point and there is a lot of depth to it, right? But converting knowledge, wisdom, into an experience and something which can be manifested, like the blessing, to manifest that in this angelic form, and people should feel, not just you feeling that in your mind or in your heart, but people should feel with your presence, and they should feel that hope and that angels are with us, and now and I'm safe, and whatever is happening is good, right? So for converting that knowledge into an experience, into something tangible that can be expressed and offered, which transform the whole energy on this earth, right? So there's 3 steps it is a deep practice, right? And definitely around that, I was thinking if you have any, um, uh, this always comes to me, to my mind, that first I need to serve myself, right? So again, going back to what I was alluding in the beginning, that there are a lot of traumas the soul has gone through, right? First, I have to detach myself from that part of me and step into that soul conscious state, that bodiless state, that real tuning to that true energy, who I am, feel that presence, connect to Baba, empower myself, and then use Sakash to my own past. In other words, make peace with my own past, right? And as I'm healing myself from my own traumas, my sanskara slowly starts molding, softening up, and my presence will start exuding and extending. So my question for you is there any strong trauma that you have gone through as in your childhood, or something happened that was a real bugger for you, that helped after coming to Gyan and then practice certain tips Baba tells that help you to soften uh, that
Okay.
pain in your heart?
Yes. There's two things that can be taking credit for transformation. One is my own effort at transforming, and the other is time.
Mm.
But they work together. And what comes to mind is when you said, was there any trauma? I said, well, being born, being born was a trauma into this world. But I can say my first years, I was coasting on magic and love. And I came into a big family, 4 older brothers and sisters, 3 brothers and sisters across the street, 2 families of kids. So it was a huge family. It's like Indian family. In the old days, you hear about extended families where everyone's living with their cousins and uncles and aunties in a whole courtyard with so many homes. So the whole block was like a big extended family. And there was so much love, I mean, I was reminded of the Brahma Baba's story. He was born in a village. He was just a villager before he became a self-made millionaire through devotion and through his business, his diamond business, to the kings of India and everything. But he lived a simple life. And I was thinking about those first maybe 3, 4 years, 5 years, even 6, of just being surrounded by love, good energy. And coasting on that. And I, you know, as the years went by, and the full family went to another country. Our whole family moved to Africa. We lived in Africa, which is magical, beautiful experience also. And I got to see the world. Many kids never leave. Most Americans don't have passports. Only 18%. I didn't realize this. 18% of Americans have passports. Most people just watch the world on TV. They only know about what's coming through their television. So, but our whole family picked up and went to Africa for over a year. We met some traumatic. There was a death in the family. One of my parents died. So it was traumatic experience. But even then, I came back to America at the age of 7. And family had, it was just a pretty shocking experience to come back, without one of the parents, right? So, and then, so life has its challenges, but then after many years of this being in this knowledge too, I think at the age of almost 50, I went back to my hometown. And was living in my own town and being on the streets where I lived and grew up, and kind of like seeing, oh, I've changed a lot, and seeing also the flow of time. You know, when you have time, you have more perspective, seeing past, present, and future of your own life and seeing how it's flowing. So Brahma says, even one life, forget one life. Think about all your lives as a whole. Spin the cycle, Baba says. Golden age, silver age gradually changes to copper age, which was magnificent too. Sure, we had lost heaven, but still we tried to keep our divinity, and then we started really deeply looking and seeking in our, in the copper age. And all the world's religions were founded, and all the different languages, the core essence of different cultures sprung up in the copper age. In the east and west, north, south, we went off. Humanity separated, went different places. But then now in the Iron Age, in Kali Yuga, after 2,500 years, Copper Age and then Iron Age, 1,250 years have gone by. Kali Yuga means, Kali means she's like, skulls around her neck, and she's just death, wholesale death, And so we've had many lives here because our lifespan decreased, right? In Golden Age and Silver Age, we lived long, 150 years. So we had eight. In Golden Age, 8 births only. And then quickly we used up all that time, right? Again, time. And in Silver Age, 21 births, less. Lifespan decreased gradually. Now in Kali Yuga, average lifespan is very short. We've had 42 births in Kali Yuga, just over the past 1,250 years, about 42 births, right? So Baba answers it to a T. See, you look in any scripture, there's time, but they don't know the dates and the times. It's fascinating. Shiva Baba could give it to us. So then we have to question, okay, what am I doing with each day? Because Shiva Baba can count each day of 5,000 years. But what am I looking at my life? Am I seeing how time works? Or is time just working on me? Just wearing away So Baba would often say to us, in the Morley's, you've heard these, and you say, children, if you transform yourself before time, then you get the credit. But if time has to transform you, like a tidal wave comes and you leave the body, then your sins are washed away. Yeah, for sure. The soul has to go through some punishment, maybe some experience, but then your sins are gone. But if you do it in advance, if you become an angel before death, die the living death, Brahma Baba would say, to really be happy, you have to die on a daily basis. Die from your old habits, your old expectations, die from the sorrow of this world and charge up from Shiv Baba. Because when the soul is charging from Shiv Baba, it's like a battery that's refilling, right? For 2,500 years, it's been coming down, the charge to very little bit. And now in this one lifetime, we have to charge your battery. And that's why he says consistency is to have everyday meditation at the same time, routine. It becomes such that if you don't do it, you go, oh, I'm never going to miss a minute. My day is shot. I can't concentrate. I have a headache. I focus. It's like, oh, when you do meditation, Baba clears the way. He puts your karma to one side and he says, okay, forget that. Now have peace in your life. Have happiness. And that peace becomes powerful, such that when the old karma comes to you, it sees you're busy and goes away. Yeah. Maya is, we say illusion, negativity. Maya comes to yogis, and yogis trying to be good and happy and spiritual. And Maya's our old negative traits, right? Maya will leave you alone if you're absorbed in your own experience and you're doing what Baba says. Baba says, be good, do service of others. Not just through words, but through atmosphere. Give your company, give compassion, give sympathy, give support to others. Not even in a conscious way. Sometimes, sometimes we think we're helping people, we're just disturbing their life. But other people will say, thank you for being here. And we think, oh, I didn't know they even noticed me. I was too busy trying to help this other person who I think should change. If I just say the right thing, they're going to change. And they never change. And someone else is saying, wow, I like watching you try to help that person. It really inspires me that you actually try to help that person day after day, the most grumpy person in the office, and that inspires the other people to go home and try it on their spouse, right? So we don't know, we don't know. Baba says, just if you remember me, I'll take care of your karma. But if we think, oh, I have to karma with this one, oh, I have to write a letter to this one, I have to apologize to this one, I have to be an inspiration to this one because I was a bad example. I have to. I know one brother who took this knowledge and he would change his life. He stopped drinking, he stopped gambling. He was deeply spiritual guy, but he just has, he grew up in the inner city, whatever. He was like a thug too, right? A good guy. He wasn't violent, but he was just around. So when he came to knowledge, he realized when I change, my family they can change too. Like they see I'm a different person, and my sons transformed themselves, and my wife, even though they were divorced, they were still in touch. And when I changed, she got herself a better job, she got a better home, everything changed. And he goes, wow, I can go back to my family now because I'm a yogi. I'm not trying to get anything. I'm not, and then he realized, or I can keep being a teacher, meditation teacher. I don't have to even go back to the family. Just wherever I am, if I'm changing, people who know me getting power from that change. That's what he realized. Because he had always told his son what to do. But when he started living, they followed what he did. He stopped drinking, or he stopped staying out late, or whatever, he stopped being angry. So the kids liked him better. And if someone likes you, they're going to follow what you do. Not what you say, but what you do, which leads us back to what you were saying. I'm not sure I answered your question. I was probably going, you said something really good. What was that?
No, the thing where I was bringing your
Oh,
attention.
yeah, about my personal experience. Yeah.
Yeah, no, you started that initially when you started your journey of this birth. So you surrounded by the loved ones, you are with a big loving family, and there was some trauma where you ended up losing one of the parents, and when you came back, and then that pain was there. Like once you tasted something, and if it is not the same, there is something different, right?
Well, it's also fear of unknown, right? Fear of death, fear of many things. So I would often challenge. I did things, driving very fast on motorcycle, doing things that I would never do today, but I was young. I was foolhardy, and I experienced other different things because I think there was an anger, or also I was trying to get over my fear to face, by doing all these things, or maybe who knows. But as a yogi, we're aware of forces more so, like the forces of negativity, the forces of anger. They're in the world. People are angry, violent, negative. If you look at them the wrong way, they'll take, And so when I first came to the center, I was going to the center in New York City. I was 20, turned 21 that summer. And before I even went to India, I would get up and meditate, and then take the subway at 5:30 to Queens from Manhattan. And I'll ride the subway every day to go and sit and listen to the Morley. And there were only 2 or 3 people at the center, a couple sisters who were brand new, started service. It was a very humble neighborhood. But I was doing this every day because this is what the daily study, right? And that's what I had done it in California for a month or two. And then for the summer, I was in New York. Anyway, and at that time, a message came because the teacher who was delivering these teachings in New York was a very special soul, and she had the gift of trance. And in the gift of trance, she would talk to Brahma Baba. And Brahma Baba would talk to her, and then she would come and tell what Baba said, right? So it's a thing we do on Thursdays, and she would offer spend time with Baba, and then we all meditated. During this time, we would be meditating, and she would bring a message back from Baba. And Baba said, I was the only one in the class that day. There was me and maybe one other sister. But Baba said, when you come to Morley class, when you come to Baba's house, don't look at anyone. Don't look at anyone. Just be introspective, because you've done meditation, right? In the morning we spend time, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, we meditate, and then we study morally, or even we go to a center. But Baba said, when you come to the center, it took almost 40 minutes, right? Don't look at anybody. Just be introspective. And the first person you really look at should be Brahma Baba's picture, right? Because it comes to life. It's not just a picture. For yogis, for us, Baba's children, his picture is like a living. You can look at his face and you get something. He talks to you, magic, right? So he said, look at my picture at the center, or look at Shiv Baba, point of light, and look at the face of the teacher who's giving drishti, right? She's remembering Brahma Baba, Shiv Baba. She's soul conscious, and she's giving drishti, Baba's drishti. Look at the sister. And then after Morley class, after the study, then go out and in the subway or New York City, you can give a look at everybody as a soul. No problem. You can see them as a soul, but don't even look at souls on the subway. Because I used to take the subway to the center, and I would be looking across the person, just looking at me as a soul. But he was just letting me know. So, no, that's not going to work. Because what you see influences you. People's moods, but anyway, the reason I said it was we're aware now as yogis. We've been on the path a long time. We can walk into an atmosphere and feel there's negative energy here. I better be quiet, take care of my business, and go. I can't, or there's negative energy here, but I can transform it through a certain attitude. Let me whistle, let me sing, let me say hello to somebody and calm them down, because sometimes people just don't know who. They're all quiet because there's tension in the air and they just need a little bit of love. So you need to know how much power you have in any situation. And Baba gives that. Baba gives it to us through intuition, through touchings. There's two words we hear in Brahma Kumaris for advanced yogis. You need to have touching power and catching power. Touching means to catch what Baba's like, hello, go this way. Don't go down that street. Go this way. Like a lot of times in retrospect, like when I left my home yesterday, I thought, you know what, I should bring this with me because I might need it. And then I didn't, but I had the thought. And then I went out and I went to the store and they said, sorry, we're out of this. But if you had this, and if I would have brought this, then I could have, picked up. In other words, our conscience is developed, but we still have to listen more to it. More learning to, that's touchings in a way, yeah. But from Baba even, I heard a story once. One sister was talking how they had arranged a big event, and this was the biggest event that the center had ever done. It was working with other organizations. It was at a church somewhere, some holistic festival or whatever. And they were going to set up a booth and do something, and they had organized all this. And then the sisters sat. It's customary, especially in the old days. Brahma Baba used to say to everybody, if you have a center and you're out giving this knowledge to people in your city, you should meditate before you leave the center. Not just in the morning for meditate, but when you're going to pack up the bags and get in your car and go, meditate first. Go in Baba's room and meditate, and then go off and do service. Or if you're going to meet some VIPs, you're going to go to the Indian Council General or meet, wherever. Meditate first and bring Baba with you. Bring that energy. Anyway, so she went in Baba's room, sat. And then came out, and we're not going. What? We're not going. I just got the touching from Baba, said, don't go. But somebody came from another country. I mean, they came partly to do service, and we had they could have been there. All these people were like, what? Says, no, Baba. And this is a very respected teacher, so they all learned something. And when she shared that story, I still remember. It's like, you have to know when to let go and just do what Baba says, because who knows what there could have been some, people say nice things. Oh yeah, come, we'll do this, but they're not really respecting you. Could have been all kinds of obstacles. We don't know. It may have been not worth their while. They set up the books, they set up, and then some other organization, who knows? Baba just said, don't go. And she said, okay. Baba said, don't go, don't do it. That was it. That's called touching power. Catching power too. Catching for me, I don't know but catching is when you're in a group of yogis, right? And the senior teacher there, maybe a Dadi or someone is meditating, and she's just arrived from traveling many countries, and she's going to be in your town for a few days, and you're catching the power of what Baba's been doing all this time with that soul, and what she's been doing all this year since you saw her last, maybe in India. When you go, wow, I'm catching vibrations from Dadi that are very, I didn't know that I could feel this from another soul, or that's power. That's called power. And then first thing she would say was silence power. Dadi Janki used to talk about silence power in the 80s. He said, we need to be able to go into a situation, to a hall, a meditation with silence power. So people will listen to what we say based on what we don't say. We come into a room, people look and go, who are these people? Wow. And the vibration, not just their external, but their vibrations, which leads us back to the blessing, Baba said, right? Yeah. Just as clouds are dispersed everywhere, in the same way, become present everywhere in your angelic form, so that wherever they look, they only see angels everywhere. So Brahma Baba does that. Even now, his picture does service. You know, we would sit in Baba's room and look at Baba's face and feel like he's talking to me personally. 10 people, we'd all come out after meditation. You know, Baba's wow. You know, Baba's amazing. Or we go to Madhuban now. We have, when I first went, there was a few hundred people would sit together, and, you know, Brahma Baba with the angel Brahma would come into a trance medium and speak, right? Shiv Baba and Brahma Baba both would speak, and we would all listen and get vibrations and catch, depending upon our ability, catch something, right? So now we go to India and there's 20,000 people. This hall is so big compared to 40 years ago, right? And the picture of Brahma Baba is giant, 2-story high, because it has to go a quarter mile back to the other side of the hall, right? So people be able to sit. And we still get experience. There's a time where it's like pin drop silence. This is the largest free spanning hall in Asia, and it's only for meditation on God, right? So that's why God comes. Even now, he comes and checks on us. And the angel Brahma, the first divine angel created by God, comes and he comes and checks on us. He says, this is what I've been seeing, how you've been this year. I noticed, you know, we hear these angelic Murlis called Avyakt Murlis, right? These we hear every day, but you know, we study these in the Brahma Baba spoke, because that's our basic nourishment. And he talks about, like I said, so many things. But the Avyakt Murlis we study once every Sunday, right? On Sunday we get these very interesting, refined Murlis where Baba takes up one topic like an angelic stage, or mental posture of benefit, how to help those, how to be of benefit to those who defame you. Whatever, Baba will go into the depth of that, because he's speaking from his angelic stage, you know, his highest stage. He doesn't need to talk about some of the basic things that Brahma Baba need to talk about too. So we get sustenance from Shiva Baba as pure power, right? But Brahma Baba, we get angelic father, right? Angelic father Brahma, like a guardian angel over us. And so that's why when the sister is looking at Brahma Baba, he's picking up. He's like, don't waste your time going to this interfaith, the New Age fair, whatever it was. Don't do it. Just meditate. And then, of course, since then they've done many of those. It's not that we don't do those. I'm just saying, in this particular situation, this thing was recommended. Baba said, no, this is not particular. These people, maybe some hidden agenda. We don't know. That wasn't it. Baba just gave the touching, and the soul said, no, we're not going. So can I do that with myself? Can I have all kinds of agendas, things I have to do, and then go, nope, I need to just do something different because Baba's touching me. And then catching. Can I catch the level of yoga someone has, the level of bhavana, the intentions they have for me? They may be externally not smiling, or they may be gruff, but their intentions on me are very good. And their intentions are to help me. So am I picking up their intentions? Because so many people will smile and they say, oh, honey, we like that. They sweet talk you, but their intentions are no good. Whereas sometimes the people who love you will tell you straight, hey, wake up, hey. You know, and you realize, oh yeah, I'm in a daze. I'm just distracted by something, or I'm preoccupied with something that I shouldn't be. You know, because nothing worse than being caught in the past or worried about the future. There's no yoga, there's no service, there's nothing happening when we're thinking about the past or caught in the future. It's waste. It's called wasting time. So time gets a lot of credit, but also it's Baba's blessings. It helped heal my impulsiveness, my self-destructive tendencies, uh, uh, all that, because Baba helps, and you hear it, and more. Baba says, children, even the last child, I know what they're going through, and I'm here to help. You know, uh, I know. So we have so many children of Brahma around the world. Brahma Kumaris and Kumaris, adopted children of Brahma. And we feel his presence as a living force, a guardian angel. Brahma Baba is very much alive, and we get confirmation. He's definitely an angelic presence. And Baba says you can do that. We don't have to leave the body. You can also be more angelic. Like the angel Harsha. you know, you know.
Yeah, it's so beautiful what you said. So we do get that subtle intuitions that, oh, I should be doing this or I should be doing that. But do I really act on that is what makes the difference. Like the sister got that instinct, but your logical mind will say that, no, now is the time to, according to the schedule, you should move, you should do what you need to do. But that subtle instincts will say that, no,
Stop.
I need to stop. Yeah, so it's that when definitely every Brahmin, once they start coming in, and as we start listening to the Murli, and as we start tuning into, we get this subtle discern power to discern what we should act or what should not act, or at least to first listen to that inner voice, like subtlety. A lot of us have that, but we don't even know it's so weak a voice that you don't even hear. So now at least it is a little louder, little audible, and then now we need to act on that. Yeah, definitely. So the two takeaways is listening to that inner voice and acting on that, and being subtle. Yeah, that's beautiful. So we have last 10 more minutes. Would you like to take us through the journey of meditation to your favorite place in Madhuban?
Oh yeah, let's do some meditation. But you can guide us, Harsha. Yeah, I like your commentaries.
So we will make this time very personal for you. Allow yourself to slow down. As you're slowing down, feel that pleasant silence growing in your mind, growing in your awareness. Engage with that presence. Slow down further. Let go of anything that you're holding. Let go of any thoughts you're holding in your mind, and let silence fill your mind. Let all the feelings roll off your heart. Feel. Feel that pure silence. go deeper and deeper. Feel your way into that pure silence, into that pure presence. Feel. Feel the presence of divine. Feel Baba. The eternal loving being. Feel your way into Baba's heart. Allow yourself to be loved. Stay absorbed in love, in this pure silence.
Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Om Shanti. Ye Dwani Mangal Dwani Hai. Om Shanti. Om. Ye Dwani Mangal Dwani Hai. Om Shanti. Om. I'm a peaceful soul. This great mantra is a sacred sound. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om. Om Shanti Om.